let's get to a UFO. Crystal's not here. We can do a UFO. I'm joking. Yeah. She never holds me.
Mom's away.
Yeah, she doesn't hold me up anytime I want to cover this story. There was a big UFO hearing yesterday. Again, I'm very sorry that I could not attend. One of the major headlines out of it is a new video that was released ostensibly showing a UAP in which a Hellfire missile was fired, and it seems to glance off. Now, I'm going to give you some countervailing evidence. I want to be clear that shows that it could be a balloon, but I do want to at least give it some credit for the video being released. Let's go ahead and put it up here on the screen. So you can see here, this is a 2024 incident, allegedly, according to the congressman who released it, and you can see the object moving over. Well, soon you're actually going to see a Hellfire missile come. It glances off, and you can see that it continues basically dodging. So that is the alleged evidence that was included there from the congressman. There's a couple of other angles that you can see from it. What's important, though, I think, is not just the video that was released, but actually some of the testimony, including here from U.S. Air Force veteran Dylan Borland, who testified on witnessing a, quote, silent 100-foot equilateral triangle that rapidly ascended to commercial jet level in seconds at Langley Air Force Base. Let's take a listen.
From 2011 to 2013, I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, conducting 24-hour operations via manned and unmanned aerial vehicles for Special Operations Forces in the global war on terror. During the summer of 2012, my team was on standby for weather, and I returned to my barracks on base, and at approximately 01:30, I saw an approximately 100-foot equilateral triangle take off from near the NASA hangar on the base. The craft interfered with my telephone, did not have any sound, and the material it was made of appeared fluid or dynamic. I was under this triangular craft for a few minutes, and then it rapidly ascended to commercial jet level in seconds, displaying zero kinetic disturbance, sound, or wind displacement. Some years after that experience, I was further exposed to classified information from the UAP Legacy Crash Retrieval Program through a sensitive position I held within a special access program. During this time, intelligence officers approached me in fear for their own careers, citing misconduct within these programs and similar retaliation that I was already enduring at this time.
That was followed up also with testimony from George Knapp, who is one of the best journalists on the UFO subject, has been for decades here. And here was some of the testimony that he offered.
It's been widely reported and suspected that Lockheed Martin is one of the contractors, the defense contractors, that has held this stuff, stored it away in secrecy, and tried to figure out how it works. I have confirmed on the record that Robert Bigelow and a trusted colleague from OSAP met with and negotiated with senior executives at Lockheed Martin and hammered out a deal wherein Bigelow's company, Bass, would receive a quantity of unusual material that had been stashed away and protected at a facility in California. That material was not made here.
That has long been part of some of the UFO community's reporting, is basically that defense contractors are used as cutouts so that you can have plausible deniability. It also goes to the fact the Pentagon can't pass an audit because nobody knows where some of this black money and all this other stuff goes. I do want to give some credit to some of the people who are saying that this video is not actually showing a UFO. Now, I will let you make up your mind for yourself, but this actually comes from a guy who I very much respect, Joe Murgia, UFO Joe. Let's put it up here on the screen. And so what he says is that from one of the, basically he looked into it, they talk about the Hellfire missile. What he says specifically is that, quote, contact occurred with the missile passing through. The apparent deflection was a guidance system searching for a laser spot again, causing control surfaces to thrash. The three trailing objects aligned better with debris or internal components ignited by electrical damage rather than missile fragments. Artifacts are possible, but unlikely. Let's go to the next part here. And they say, the overall conclusion is that the evidence is most consistent with a slow-moving or a stationary balloon carrying an electrical payload struck by a Hellfire that failed to detonate. Anomalies arise from fuse mechanics, etc. I will let others determine the facts, but that was some of the original kind of, quote, debunking that I saw on it. You can make up your minds for yourself in terms of what it comes from. It was Representative Eric Burleson, by the way, who is the person who revealed it. And it's one of those where it was presented as received from an from a whistleblower, according to him, but the circumstances are a bit weird. He said he received it without any metadata or any of that, and he says independent review is ongoing. So I do think it's important to at least present the fact that some analysts and others are saying that it could have been a balloon, which they say about all of them. And so, you know, I want to be totally fair about that. Part of the reason independent review is very important, part of the reason throwing it to the experts, et cetera, and actually taking this stuff seriously. But nonetheless, it was great to see George Knapp and some of the others there recounting some of their experiences. I do think some of us are still getting very fed up with the fact that it's still so slow moving. You know, I attended the first UFO hearing, 2 years ago? At this point.
The third
yeah, this is the third one, but I'm saying the very first one with Dave
Yeah.
Grush, right? I was there, you know, I was in the room. I thought it was a big moment. I thought something was coming. And then, you know, the NDAA continues to not have some of the UFO disclosure pieces, even though it's been pushed by members of the overall U.S. Senate. So we rely on Anna Paulina Luna or other people are making extraordinary accusations. I'm very willing to believe, but we got to see more evidence. We got to see more stuff come from the government.
An interesting disagreement playing out on X right now between UFO Joe and Lou Elizondo, who on News Nation last night made a very interesting argument, which is that the Hellfire missile UFO is evidence of, quote, technology that is making our premier missile system completely useless. And if you're wondering why, in relation to what Saagar just described about the NDAA, why are our members of Congress, and even remember Marco Rubio as a senator?
Yeah, he was an OG. That's
quote,
right.
Mainstream members of Congress interested in getting answers to questions like these? Well, it's because they're seeing videos and hearing analysis from people like Lou, who worked at the Pentagon.
Right.
You can debate Elizondo, whatever, but saying this is evidence of technology that's making our premier missile system completely useless. Now, UFO Joe disagrees. He says, early on, I agreed. Right now, I do not. I retain the right to change my mind. Did Lou present any analysis or mention anybody who has done analysis besides the stuff shared on here by us? But that gets to what Saagar was just saying, which is that years into this third task force meeting, the bombshells are highly disputed. You know, it's not like this bombshell dropped yesterday and everybody was like, when that New York Times story originally dropped, back in 2017?
Oh yeah, 2017. That's why I'm here.
It all
literally.
broke into the
That's the only reason. That's what got me in.
Yeah, but we haven't had another moment like that, really.
It's been a while. Dave Grush was very important, I think, as well. But
That's true.
You got to see more. And, you know, credit to Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp and all these guys. They're the ones who are at the vanguard. They're pushing the conversation. They're singularly focused.
Responsibly.
They're getting it responsibly vetted. And that's why I include all of the information. You can make up your mind for yourself. I think more scrutiny, pressure on these, you know, the Democratic and Republican establishment to get the stuff out there is just so vitally important if you want to get to the truth. Because at this point, you know, you have congresswomen and others, people making major accusations and or allegations, which I'm totally willing to believe. But we have to see more evidence in the future. That's the number one important thing. So call your congressman, tell them to, or senator, get them to make sure the NDAA is going to have that. Watch it to them, right? You know, to the UA. It's like so low on their priority list that if even 20 people call about it, maybe they'll do something. You never know. You truly never know. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.